lowered it.
Yes, that's much better.
Okay, I'll leave it there then.
All right, everybody, let's come to attention. Back. Good job. Evelyn, you get to lead everybody in punches.
Okay. Punching. Ready, set, go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Ready? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Hut! 11. One. Oh, double punches. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Triple punches. Ready, set, go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 4 punches. Ready, set, go. 1, 2, 3, 4. Mom, I think 4. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Quit!
Good job, Madeline. Okay. So, in a lot of the classes, we worked on power generation. I worked on some different sets with power generation and, like in solid stance 1, getting more power out of a punch that way. So, let's talk about another reason why we practice kata. So, everybody does kata. Taekwondo does kata, Kung Fu does kata, Karate does kata. We approach it differently than some schools do. What we try to do is connect our sparring and the sets in sparring with the katas that we're doing. So that can be completely different in some schools. In real traditional Taekwondo, when I started, we did one movement at a time. Really strong, one movement at a time. When I went to a tournament one time, my instructor said to me, they won't understand your katas. You have really good, he didn't call them katas, they were youngs. He said, you have a real good young, but they don't understand it. And I said, well, what is the difference? And he said, we do power forms, and they do fighting forms. So at the time, I thought he was talking about the different kind of techniques. So I didn't quite understand. But over a period of time, I did understand. So he's talking about the sets, that the pace, and the sets that you do the forms in. So in Chun-Ji, really traditional, Chun-Ji's done one move at a time. Really hard block, really hard punch. Really hard block, really hard punch. So let's take our first 3 katas and look at the sets. We'll end with quick form 1 on it. So attack form 1, rather than do it the way we do it in Chun-Ji, we try to tie these 2 movements together. All right? So doing downward block punch, downward block, into the punch. Now, I don't want to do that downward block so quick that I don't do the downward block. You know, like a pretend downward block and then into the punch. I want to do a complete downward block and then step into the punch. What I don't want is to hesitate at all after the block. All right? Now, why do we do that? Because that's the way you spar. Imagine if we took back fist reverse punch and did it the one move at a time way. So I'm setting up and I do one back fist and then a punch. Well, that wouldn't work. If I did that kind of real strong back fist, I'd have a strong back fist, but my opponent would see it coming. They'd get out of the way or counterattack me or side kick me before I ever had a chance to throw the punch. So we want to tie those together like we do when we spar. So I want to do a back fist punch. Or in the case of attack form 1, downward block punch. Bang, bang, 1 right into the next. All right, so let's do that a little bit. Everybody, since you're facing me, you're going to go to your left, do the downward block punch. And what I want you to do is practice making sure that you fully do the front stance and then go into the punch. All right, ready? Do some of those on your own. Go. Okay, stop there. All right, so the added part of that is the breath, because you can't move without breathing. So what we want to do is echo the kind of breath to the kind of movement we want to do. So in this case, a downward block punch, we want to throw a strong downward block, but not an all-out everything we can put into it downward block. We want to do a strong downward block and then an even stronger punch. Just like you would throw a strong back fist, but an even stronger reverse punch. So we want to tie that together with the way that we practice in forms. Because what would be the purpose of practicing 2 exercises that don't work together? Hypothetically, doing forms one way that have nothing to do with sparring. Well, then you're practicing the forms for technique. But there's more to it than that. If we tie our breath into it and tie our timing in our sets, then we're working on that type of set for sparring. All right, so breathe strong on the downward block, but even stronger on the punch. And the way you breathe will regulate whether you stop or not. So you want to exhale on the downward block and then move right into the punch. All right, try that a few times. Ask me, your camera's not on. There we go. Okay, I'll stop there. All right. So just a word on attack form 1 before we shift to solid stance 1. In attack form 1, when you turn and you go up the middle, you're doing a downward block in 3 punches. That's all one set. So you have to regulate your breathing as you're going through those sets so that you finish with that third punch and a full exhale. So that's something that you have to do in practice. All right, now let's go to solid stance 1. So solid stance 1 is a defensive form. So we step into a strong block and then shift hard into the punch. Again, when we finish that block is when we initiate that turn with our right hip, my right hip, into the punch. So as soon as I set on this, then I shift into the punch. We still want that to be a fighting set. We want it to be block punch. We don't want to block and stop there for a while and then punch and stop there for a while. Again, if we practice that way, we're going to get good upper blocks, good punches, but no timing that's going to help us at all in sparring. All right, so we want to set and then immediately shift into the punch. All right? What's happening? There we go. For some reason the camera blinked. One thing that I'm seeing on the solid stance, you need to bend your back knee so that you can't see your foot. And my knee is a little bit more than 90 degrees. All right, go ahead, do a few of those. Punch at me. Solid stance 1, Kishwa. There you go. All right, everybody stop for a second. Make sure that you're not shortcutting yourself, just like the downward block. We want to do the full front stance on the downward block in attack form 1. We want to make sure we do the full back stance in solid stance 1. So you don't want to step and immediately go into the punch and never get the shift. And when you do this shift, make sure your back is vertical. Don't lean over the top of your leg. You want your knee here and your back straight. But when you do the move, you got to make sure you complete that upper block. Don't rush yourself and cut some of it off. Block, punch, so that you're getting that full punch from this knee, pushing into the punch. If you shortcut that, even though it looks the same, you're not getting that action off of your back knee. All right, so you have to set and then push. All right, let's do a few more of those. Keep doing it, Madeline. All right, everybody shift to the other side. Do the other side on it. Samhita. Step. Look at me one time. Take a step into that first back stance. Don't, you shouldn't already be there. Take a step. Go ahead. I'm watching. Yeah, that's better. Okay. All right. Now let's go on to quick form 1. So in quick form 1, first of all, I'm checking my stance out, making sure that my feet are shoulder width apart. When I start this, I'm going to bend my knees. Then I'm going to reach over here to do the middle block. And nobody do this with me. Watch me one time. All right? I'm going to start. Greg, hold on. I'm going to start the middle block. As I finish the middle block, I'm going to start the step into the punch. So I'm here. I'm moved over a little bit so I'm still in the frame. All right, slow motion, I'm going to reach. I'm turning my hips to do the middle block, and as soon as the middle block completes, I want to go into the punch. And it's tricky because I can trip over my own feet trying to rush that. So what I have to do is practice the timing of starting as soon as the block finishes. So from here, block, punch. All right, so make sure you bend your knees, reach to the opposite hip. You should be in a low stance to start off with. And then no hesitation after the block into the punch. That's why it's quick form 1. And make sure your back is straight when you finish the punch. Some of you are leaning forward. All right, do some on your own. Got to step with it, Madeline. Block and then step. Step. Do not step it. Step and punch. Look at me, Madeline. Block, step, and punch. Step and punch. Hey, David. They're working on the first set of quick form 1. Okay. All right, now what you want to do is go from the punch that you're on here and then turn the other way. You want to do it from this punch because you have to find the spot for your, this is my right foot for the cat stance. So I'm putting my foot back, and as you can see, I'm reaching for the other hip. As I turn around, that's the middle block. As I turn around, that middle block is tied in, so I don't go like this and then throw the middle block independent of my body movement. It's part of your body movement. So you put your foot back, get your hand in position, turn, and as you finish the block, go right into the punch. All right, so let's do it from the end of the first set. So I'm in a right front stance, and I'm going to turn and block right, left. All right, go ahead. Come on, Madeline, practice. No hesitation after the block. Block punch. All right, everybody stop for a second. So what I see is some of you rushing the transition between the sides. All right, so it's block punch, and then you get your foot back, and that's sort of not a little bit slower pace. And then you start to turn, it's block punch. So don't speed up the transition between the two sides. That's not part of the set. It's block punch, turn, block punch. Okay? So the switch from one side to the other doesn't have to be real quick. That's part of your focus and concentration, not rushing yourself between the two sets. All right, try it a few more times. Okay. All right, so now let's go on to the middle part of quick form 1. So I ended here, and I'm going to do the same thing. Middle block immediately into a punch. Then I'm going to kick, rebend that kick, put my foot on the floor, and then a quick double punch. Now the set keeps going. I'm going to keep going by kicking again, put my foot solid on the floor, and then double punch. Years ago, I didn't have people put their foot solid on the floor, and I had a variety of different things that were happening up the middle, including people tripping over their own feet trying to do it too fast. All right, when we put that little pause in, by getting your foot on the floor, it cleared that up completely. That's the case in attack form 4 and the kicks as well. We'll save that for another class, another time. But on this, again, middle block, as soon as the middle block's completed, punch. As soon as the punch is completed, kick, foot down, double punch. Let's practice that much of it. All right, so from here, Kelly's going to do this one with you. So I'm going to count, and you're going to go to the end of the first double punch. Ready? Middle block, punch, kick, double punch. 2. I'm watching the screen and I'm letting everybody get back into position. Sometimes when some of you are counting for the rest of the class, you're counting too quick. So either they're not getting enough time to get their foot down on the floor between kicks, or they're still in the middle of doing a set and you're counting the next set. So if you can't see it, everybody, still put a little bit of pause between the counts so people can recover. All right, ready? 3. Good job, Madeline. 4. 5. 6. 7. None. What? All right. So with all of those, the beginning of those katas, attack form 1 and solid stance 1 and quick form 1, it never feels comfortable until you practice it a bunch of times. So that's the secret always, is to do more and more practice of it. So reasonable practice as your instructor would not be to tell you to go home and do 50 quick form 1s, because you're not going to do it. So our plan, and it's always the same, is to practice your katas once a day. So once a day, when you do quick form 1, work on that speed between the block and the punch. Recognize what you do, like today's Tuesday. Then Wednesday, when you practice it, you know what you did the day before, and then try to improve on it, little bit by little bit. That's the way that you're going to get solid improvement. If you practice for the rest of the night tonight and then didn't practice the rest of the week, it wouldn't do you any good. It's a little bit of practice every day that reinforces what we practice. All right. So that set, middle block, punch, kick, double punch, that's not the kind of set, although you can do that front kick, double punch in sparring, but it's the 5 moves that we're linking together. And it could be any sparring combination that you're linking those 5 moves together. All right, let's talk about the class for a second. All right, so as it stands right now, the director sent me a message, and she's talking about June 15th. They're having meetings and discussing different things. North Carolina's cases of COVID has went up, and hospitalization has went up. So when they opened it up previously, there's been more spread, and that's concerning. The press conference that I watched, the governor was saying that the health administrator from the federal government, I think her name is Briggs, contacted the health administrator for North Carolina, Dr. Cohen, because of her concern over the increase of cases in North Carolina. So that's not a real good sign, but I want everybody to be aware of that. There was also, Mr. Phelps may have saw this too, there was a study in South Korea where they were suggesting against any kind of classes where people are breathing hard. And this was because there was a dance class, and some instructors went to a dance class, and then they went to teach their classes, and in fact infected about 277 people, I think was the number. That's not a good sign either, because obviously that's one of the things that we emphasize. I just did, breathing in the katas. So my position still is going to be that we need the gym because we need to spread out. All right, that's going to be the big thing there. The other thing that happened was Brian Penna from Columbia, South Carolina, sent a schedule for the Legends. So they're inducting me into this Legends of Carolina, and it was supposed to be in July, but they canceled his tournament, his May tournament, and so he's tying the Legends and the May and that tournament together. So they're both going to be in August 14th and 15th. So the Legends ceremony is Friday night at 6:30. Doors open at 5:30. I have to call him tomorrow because I want to verify that this is actually going to be at the state fairgrounds. Because they did this Legends at his school the last time, but it looks like it's going to be at the fairgrounds, which is a good thing because it'll be a bigger facility, so people can spread out more. So I'll be letting everybody know about that as well. All right, so let's stay on the quick forms a little bit. So quick form 2 is Shinto, and there's a bunch of different sets in Shinto that reflect that quick or rapid fire movement. There's movement and turns in Shinto. So let's start with one of the turns that we've already done. So I'm going to get into the left stance here. I'm going to turn, punch, punch. I'm going to turn, punch, punch. One more time. All right, so let's everybody try to do that. In a left front stance, move your right leg back, counter turn your hip, punch, step, punch with your left. All right, do that a few times. Try, Madeline. All right, as you're doing that, keep in mind that you don't want any hesitation between those punches. Punch and then step right into that next punch. Okay. So one of my favorite sets, we're doing these chops, and then this is a double knife hand strike, palm down, lock, and then an arm break. So I'm going to have Kelly come up here so I can show you what that is. So in Mikata, you chop this way as a different opponent. And then you're coming in, you're chopping. And then I'm rocking back on the ball of my back foot. And I'm driving my heels forward, the heel of my hands forward into the collarbone. The idea of this is to knock her arms off. So like if I hit her hard enough in the chest, she'd go like this. Okay? So I'm here, I'm striking, I'm chopping in, then I'm going to get control of this arm and then break it on the elbow. So I'm using my hip to do that break. My recorder box is right in the middle of the screen, and so sometimes I can't tell what you can see. So again, I'm chopping here, and then when I hit Kelly, if I hit Kelly like that, see what her arms do? They pop up. So if I chopped her in the collarbones, this arm would come up. So I'm coming underneath it, getting control of it, and then breaking it with my hip by turning my hip in. And so again, I'm here, chop, strike, and then break. Okay. Now coming towards you, towards the camera, I'm here. Rocking back, double knife strike, lock, or control the arm, break. Okay, so watch me one time. So you want to make it fluid like that, and then gradually pick up the speed. Okay, Kelly's going to step in. One. Two. Three. Four. Five. Six. Seven. Eight. Nine. 10. Good work. Do some on your own. Okay. Let's work on one more set. It's actually two sets here. Near the end of the kata, so near the end of the kata, I do a punch and then I turn this way. I'll go ahead and finish what I'm going to do. Then I turn, lock, front kick, turn, lock, front kick. All right. So what that is, you have an opponent in front of you, and this opponent is here. So I just punched this opponent, and she grabbed me. All right. So I'm coming behind her and digging into her kidneys with this scissor strike. All right. So I want my elbows lower than the part that I'm going to strike. I don't want like this. I want to dig up into her kidneys. Like that. So I want my arms in that position so that I can get power. If I come this way, I'm going to lose a lot of power. So I want it from here. Like that. All right. Step away. So look where I'm at on me. Right? You got to get low so that you're digging into the kidney. Then you're going to block one way, front kick, different opponent obviously, and then the other way and kick. All right? So Kelly's going to turn around so she's in that position that I was in. Kidney strike. Kidney strike. Then she's going to lock to her right. Defensive front kick. Lock to her left. Defensive front kick. And Madeline and Ethne, watch this block. Look at my block. So I come from here like this, in front of my face and then down. So I'm not just downward blocking. This is an outside forearm block into a downward block. All right, so I'm blocking in front of my face. All right. All right.
This?
Yes. Like that.
Okay.
All right, so get into the horse stance position. Better yet, turn into a right front stance. So Kelly's going to turn into a right front stance facing away from the camera. All right, then she's going to turn into the horse stance, do the scissor strike, then block to her right, kick, block to her left, kick. Okay. So if you were doing the kata, when you stepped in to do that punch before the scissors, that's a full out, as hard as you can punch. Then you inhale deep because you're going to do this next set without inhaling. So you're going to partially strike, then middle block kick, middle block kick. Right? So Kelly just did that, and I could hear her exhaling. Now, she may have inhaled a little bit, but her main inhale is going to be after the punch, before the kidney strikes. So everybody get in that position. Exhale. Inhale. Go. Good. Don't hold your breath, though. Kelly just held her breath through part of that. Exhale on each move, just progressively stronger. All right, again, into the punch. Exhale hard. Inhale, go. All right, again, from the punch. So when I do the kata, this is my competition kata, I for sure yell on this punch. So when I get to that punch, I yell hard. So all my air is gone. So as I start to turn into the horse stance, that's when I inhale. And then I go through that set. Now I may be partially inhaling a little bit as I'm executing the set, but the main inhale is after that punch. All right? So let's try that again. Ready? 2. 3. 4. 5. 6. 7. 8. 9. 10. Good work. Okay. So again, let's take a couple minutes and talk about these three groupings on the katas and the purpose of that. So like in class tonight, there's people that spar aggressively, attack fighters. So David is an attack fighter, naturally. That's what he's most comfortable with. Then there's defensive fighters. Marjorie Streck is a defensive fighter. She doesn't run around the room chasing people. She's like a spider. She lets people come into her web, gets close enough to her, and then she hits them with a reverse punch. She doesn't always try to beat the person to the punch either. So she doesn't attack first. Sometimes her opponent will attack. She'll be in a good stance and be able to block the attack and then counterattack with a reverse punch. So solid stance 1 is a perfect form for her because that's exactly the kind of technique that she uses in sparring. So she tends to be a defensive fighter. David's very aggressive, but David now has a very defensive side as well. We worked on that as part of his advancement. Same thing with Marjorie. Marjorie can attack, but she's comfortable and natural doing defensive movements. I try to say that I'm a mobile fighter. That means that I do both. Sometimes I attack, sometimes I defend. And I try not to stand still very much because I'm not the biggest person in the world. So if I stand still, I get clobbered. So I try to move around and evade my opponent. Now let's talk about the katas. So when we're practicing the katas, if we're aware of what the kata theme is, in this case, why we have these forms divided into attack forms, we know that the attack forms, we're working on the forward progression of these sets. So as you're doing the sets, that's the thing that you're keeping in mind. Part of what you're doing is working on an attack mode, like if you were blitzing your opponent. The solid forms are more defensive, so they're more holding your ground, like solid stance 1. The other forms are Nahanchi and Seisan, where you're not moving around quickly. You move around in Seisan, but it's more of a steady, deliberate, solid movement, rather than the kind of flighty moves that are in quick form. And then the quick forms are work on the speed of these sets to complement the kind of fighter that likes to move around a lot and to throw rapid sets. Defensive fighters tend to throw 1 or 2 techniques, like Marjorie's defensive reverse punch. Attackers blitz, but they usually blitz with straight line, coming right at you techniques. Mobile fighters tend to use what we were working on, lateral movements and quick combinations. So we want to try to use the katas to enhance the way that you spar. So you want to think about that when you're doing your katas. And then when we get back into class and you're doing 1/3 speed sparring, you want to think about it as well while you're doing the sparring. And try to work on different types of sparring, like aggressive or defensive or mobile, both. Okay. Okay, we only have a few more minutes, so let's do some katas. So, FB, you're the first window that I see, so let's do you first.
Last time you skipped me, but we didn't have enough. I didn't have enough time to tell you.
Okay, well, good. Then I'm starting with you. Get your chair out of the way, or you already did.
Yeah, I'm good.
What are you doing?
Sparring.
Okay. Madeline, it's your turn. Unmute yourself and make sure you have enough room to do your kata.
Should I tell them?
Unmute yourself.
I'm doing Kulan.
Okay. Good work. Good job, Madeline.
Thank you.
It's where I have you up, but before you start, okay. So Ishwa's going to do a kata, but before she does it, the last people to post a kata on the group site were Levi and Amy. Levi and Amy posted, it's been a couple weeks, maybe a week and a half, 2 weeks ago. So that would be a good thing for everybody to do, is to post, go onto the group site like you all did before and post one of your katas. Make sure that you don't start so close to the camera that you overwhelm the camera. Like Ethme, when you just did your kata, some of it was so close to the camera that we can't see it. So you need to start further back so that we can see the whole kata.
Do you want me to go like near where the piano is, somewhere like that?
Yeah, I guess so. Just so that you can see the whole thing. All right, and so I would appreciate it if people posted some of your katas again. That was a good thing. Everybody got to see them. And when you do that, you can look at it. If you don't like the way it looked, do it again. Right? You're recording it. All right. Ish was waiting.
I'm going to do Naihanchi.
Okay. I muted myself. So you muted yourself, right? Thank you. There you go, Samhita. Unmute yourself and then do a kata for me. She disappeared. She doesn't know how to unmute herself. I got it.
Okay, I'm going to do Sayuchi.
That was good. Thank you. All right. Before we go to somebody else, I'm going to talk for a second, and then one of you can go. So, taking a look at the 3 katas that we just looked at. So, we were practicing part of Shinto, and then Ishwa did Naihanchi. So, Naihanchi is a solid form where you're not moving around a whole lot. You're turning and doing the movements, but you're not moving all over the floor. And then Samhita just did Sayuchin, which is attack form 3. So in that form, she was forward charging. All right, so I want to try to make that definition of why those katas are divided that way. So Shinto is quick form 2. There's lots of changes of direction, real rapid techniques. Naihanchi solid stance 4. You're pretty much in the same place on the floor. You move a little bit, and then you're working on your hand techniques. And then Sayuchin is a straightforward attack sets where you're charging in and then pulling back out. So that reflects, again, different types of fighters. Solid fighters, aggressive fighters, and mobile fighters. I don't want to belabor the point, but those 3 katas are good examples of that. All right, Sanjay, what's on the agenda? I got you unmuted. Go ahead.
I'll do Tosan.
Okay. Give yourself enough room so you're not in the camera.
Turn the camera in.
I muted myself again. How about you, Raina? What kata do you want to do?
I did Tosan. You can do one, so if you want.
Can I do 1 too?
Absolutely. Give yourself enough room.
Sorry.
One, two.
No, that's
No,
wrong.
no.
So look at the screen. Look at the screen.
All right. Raina, I'm going to let you lead everybody through the punches here at the end. Hold on one second. So we're running out of time again, and I don't want to run these classes over. So again, I'll try to get the people to do katas that did not get to do them today. So Raina's going to back up.
You're doing it, sir.
You have to,
So you're going to do single punches, double punches, triple punches, and 4 punches. Right?
Okay. Yep.
All right.
Okay.
Go for it.
Be in a satellite stance. Punch up. Single punches. 1, 2, 3, punches. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9.
Thank you, Raina.
Because this.
All right. So I gave everybody something to work on because you can work on that piece of Quick Form 1 and at the same time work on the beginning of Attack Form 1 and the turns going both ways and note the difference between the cadence of the block punch on the downward block punch compared to the block punch from the cat stance into the punch. The stances themselves force you into taking more time on the downward block punch on Attack Form 1. The cat stance enables you to do that falling step is what it's called. Actually, as you do Quick Form 1, you're never supposed to put your weight on the cat stance foot. So you're supposed to transfer over the top without ever putting your full weight on that foot. If you do that, it forces you into doing a real quick step. And that's the whole point of it there. And then if you're familiar with Shinto, work on those sets that we worked on Shinto. And try to think about how you do sparring combinations and which mode that would fit in. Are you aggressive when you're doing your techniques? Are you defensive? Are you a little bit of both? And if you're aggressive, maybe you need to work on some defensive techniques to complement it. If you're a real defensive fighter, maybe you need to work on some offensive techniques to complement that. All right. Good class today. Everybody come to attention. Hold on for a second. I have to unmute everybody. This is always pretty noisy, but we'll do it anyway. Come to attention. Why do we follow the rules?
Because it's the right thing to do.
Thank you. Who's number 1?
I am.
Good class, everybody. Thank you.
Thank you, Bill. Thank you, Bill.
Enjoyed it.
Thank
Good
you.
job. Thanks, Bill. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you, Master Bill. Bye, Miss Kelly.
Thank you, Ishwa.
Adios.
Miss Kelly,
Hi, baby.
I wanted to show you something.
I just sent your daddy a message. I just noticed that. And I sent your daddy a message and I said, did my girl cut her hair?
Yep.
You look
Hold on.
beautiful. And you actually look more like your mommy.
Thank you.
She's beautiful. You are my soul.
Thank you.
Literally 3 minutes ago, he can check the phone. I just asked him that. How are you feeling?
Yeah. What?
How are you feeling?
I'm feeling much better, and I'm really excited to come back. I can't wait till Karate Center opens.
Yeah.
Well,
Blender
thank you
Center.
for remembering me.
Yeah. I wanted to show you because I just wanted to show you that I cut my hair. So.
I tell him to look at it, and he'll see the time because I'm going. She's doing the kata, and she just cut her hair.
Yep. Just a couple of days ago on Saturday, I just cut it all off for the summer.
And everybody's good with it.
Raina isn't happy with it. I'm actually the one who wanted to cut my hair. So.
That's all that matters, right, baby?
Yeah.
You follow your heart and spirit.
Yeah.
For remembering and saying hello to me.
Yep, no problem. I miss you guys. So yeah, I can't wait to come back. Love you too. I have to go eat dinner. So
Okay.
bye.
Love
Nice
them
talking to you.
for me.
Okay, bye.
Okay, talk to